Hey guys, it's Sebastian from AskSebby, and today we are going to talk about whether it makes sense for you to keep the American Express Gold Card for another year. For some reason, this is one of the most requested videos over on our Instagram page, where we mostly just post photos and stuff from trips. My guess is that as we inch closer to that 1-year anniversary, there's going to be more questions like this, so I figured I would do a video. For this video, we will be using a calculator to figure out what your break-even is going to be based off a bunch of different factors. If you want to start on that while I talk about different things, just because I know some people like to multitask, you can go to the blog post down below. While you play with it, one of the very big benefits of the gold card is that it has very strong multipliers, and you get a bunch of credits that make it very easy to keep. If you value the credits at 100% of their value, and we'll talk about that, you're effectively paying $30 to keep that card. That's before factoring in any retention offers that you might otherwise get, depending on your circumstances and how much money you've put on that card. The big disadvantage of this system is that there's not really any no annual fee downgrade paths like there are with other issuers like Chase. So even though you can technically downgrade to the green card, it's not really a card that I would recommend downgrading to right now. Even if there's new multipliers and stuff, you're still paying that fee. So it might be fine for some people, but for a lot of people, if you're in a position where you lose your job, where you're going back to school and you don't want to pay any annual fees, then you're kind of in a weird spot. Before we dive into the numbers, let me know down below if you are someone debating this as well, and also if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. So we have that calculator that we talked about that you can dive into yourself, but one of the first starting steps is understanding how a break-even works and what our goal of this calculator is. So we already have an old calculator that's more about expected value, so what value you're getting from the card based off your spends. So if you spend $10,000, this is the amount of value. So that's already done for the most part. Here we are looking and talking about breaking even on the card. The question being, how much money do I need to spend on this card given the special multipliers for it to make sense for me to come out ahead? The bare bones answer is that you have the travel credits, you have the multipliers times how much you value the points, and then you have the annual fee. You effectively want to solve for X, which is going to be the amount of spend you need to do for that card to make sense. For me, I value American Express points at 2 cents per point, but I'm also looking to do business class and first class flights with those points rather than doing economy stuff. At that valuation, if we solve for X, we get $375. This means that I need to spend that amount in the 4X categories for the card to make sense. So that's the most basic version of this possible, but I feel like when we talk about break-evens, that might not really be an accurate picture. Taking the initial model we have, you probably want to discount the dining credits as well as the travel credits, the argument being that you could otherwise have used another card for those purchases and not be locked in a way that might not make sense for you. Other things we need to factor in are going to be the retention offer, and this is when you're thinking about canceling the card, sometimes they'll give you an offer in order to get you to keep the card. Moving on over to opportunity cost, that is the benefit you are foregoing using other cards by using this one. So the idea is that if you can spend $375 to break even, technically you could have put that $375 on something like the Citi Double Cash card where you would have got 2% and not paid any annual fee. Given all of this, we obviously have a more complicated formula, but the same idea still holds true. You want to solve for X. I feel like this is something I've talked about in the past before, but I figured I would build a calculator just to make it a bit easier for people. The calculator should be pretty self-explanatory. There are some things I did not build into it. So what if you ended up using 5x back cards or other things? And if you want to figure that out, I would recommend just spending 5 minutes and doing the math for yourself. Didn't really make sense to feature creep for this specific thing. If the number that comes out at the bottom is negative, that means that you already get value from the card and you technically don't need to spend any money in order to break even. If the number at the bottom seems very large and it's a positive number, it might not make sense. That means that you need to spend that amount of money with the 4X categories for you to come out ahead. If the card makes sense for you and you want to learn more about it, a pretty easy way to support our channel would be to use the links on our site, AskSebby.com, or the links in the description box down below. If you want to walk through this together, then we are going to do that right now. Otherwise, you can head on to the outro, which is going to be at this timestamp. Starting from the top, we have the retention offer field, and here you can either click yes or no. If you click yes, then more options are going to come up, whether you got points or cashback is the offer and the amount, as well as the minimum spend requirement, and also the opportunity cost that you feel is right for that retention offer amount. All of these numbers will feed into the number at the bottom. Part number 2 is going to be the credits you get and whether you provide any discount to the value of the credits. So if you get $100 airline fee credits, is that really worth $100 or is that worth $90 to you? So here we'll say 90 for this example. We'll modify the top to say that there is no retention offer because I haven't seen that many recently. And this one, let's call it 100. So the value of the credits that you're getting in year 2 and onwards is going to be $190, and we're paying $250, which we'll walk through. The next part is going to be fixed spending, and this is for anyone who is curious about what happens if they already know they're going to spend X amount of dollars on a specific thing. For our example, it's going to be no, but if you do want to play with it, more fields. So this is pretty much for anyone who is going to ask me, well, I know I'm spending $10,000 or $1,000 on flights already on the card. How much more do I need to spend on these 4X categories for it to make sense, given this 3X? Again, for our purpose, I'm just not going to put anything, but do what makes sense for you. For other benefits, I would focus on things that are going to be different than what you see with other cards. So if you already have an everyday card, Shop Runner, you get that anyways. So I would not consider giving that any value. So for me, that's going to be 0. For you, it might be $10, it might be $50, just whatever you value it at. The final bottom area is going to be the opportunity cost. So the idea that you could have spent that money on another card that you would have to spend on this card to break even. So the City Double Cash example, there's a complex one which I decided not to build because it got too complicated and I think I got into a rabbit hole, just didn't make sense. Basic one, we're using 2% here, but you can change it to 3, 4, whatever percent that you feel makes sense. 2 I feel like is a very fair number for opportunity cost. This part is going to be CPP, so how you value the points and how you're going to use it. For American Express points, I feel like the most value is going to be through transfer partners, and that's how I use the points. But if you're someone who is going to cash out the points, I feel like the Schwab Platinum, that might make a bit more sense. Just really depends on you. I value transfer partners at 2 cents per point given how I spend my money and other business class flights I've bought based off deals and stuff. So I would need to spend $1,000 on the 4X back categories in order to break even. If you're someone doing the cash back route, you're looking at this 1.25 rate, $2,000. One of the big benefits of this sheet is that you can pretty much change it based off your circumstances. So if you decide that you value this perk at $50 and this one at $50, it's going to affect these other numbers and will affect the break-even amounts. So in this case, it's a negative number, meaning that you don't have to spend any money and you already come out ahead based off the other benefits of the perks, which makes sense given the travel credits and the fact that you value these 2 perks at $100. For anyone still watching, let me know down below if you want me to walk through stuff like this for future videos, and we'll jump to the outro. At the end of the day, the point of this channel is to help people make more quantified, data-driven decisions, and hopefully calculators like this help you guys out. If it does, let me know in the comments down below, that way I know to make more of these in the future, and if you know anyone else who is confused about this, feel free to share the calculator with them because it'll probably help them out. My question for you guys is, based off the numbers, what was your break-even points? So did you have to spend $400, $800, $1,000 for the card to make sense based off the calculator? I'm pretty sure the community will also be curious as well. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. I think I already asked you guys to share it, so there's that. But hopefully you guys liked it. See you guys next time.